today. Our nation's strong innovation ecosystem has always been driven by the pioneering spirit on which America was founded. Throughout the centuries, we have leveraged research and development to make unthinkable progress across industries and drive the United States, indeed the world, forward. This has enabled our economic competitiveness in many of the country's public missions: national security, healthcare, infectious disease response, rural development, disaster preparedness and response, and a whole lot more. Thanks to R&D, advancements that could only once be imagined are now possible. Whether it's developing the vaccine for COVID-19, next generation computers and phones, carbon capture and storage, or the next stealth multi-role combat aircraft fighter. The delivery of these capabilities has been rooted in the ability to unleash innovation, research, and technology. I saw an example of this firsthand this week as I visited a company in my own district, Now Diagnostics in Springdale, Arkansas. They developed simple diagnostic tests, which require nothing more than a drop of blood and a few minutes to yield results. Their products cover everything from a COVID-19 antibody test to screenings for malaria and Ebola. Just one example of the many American companies producing cutting-edge technology and solutions. So how do we continue to encourage these types of breakthroughs? Washington should support private industry, which has led a vast majority of investment, and promote policies that encourage companies to continue to unleash opportunity in this critical space. This supporting role of the federal government should focus on resources for R&D in areas such as early-stage research and streamlining regulations. As a member of the Appropriations Committee, I've advocated for federal research funding for critical NIH programs, including Alzheimer's, ALS, diabetes, and pediatric cancer research. We also can't overlook national security priorities like the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, BARDA, which helps us combat bioterrorism and other emerging health threats. It's for these programs that I will continue to voice my concern for the true challenge that threatens all critical federal programs, including R&D initiatives. That is our out-of-control deficit and debt. We're spiraling toward a fiscal crisis. Once we get there, once it hits, there will be zero money to fund these critical programs. I've said over and over again as an appropriator, one of my chief concerns is that we continue to have major food fights in appropriations on the House floor about how we fund the discretionary side of the budget. There won't be any money for R&D if we don't tackle the real problems facing our country, and that's on mandatory spending. It's grown from 34% of the federal budget in 1965 to 70% today. It's projected to grow to 76% in 2030. Discretionary spending, which includes funding for health research, space exploration, and the National Science Foundation, has declined from 66% of the federal budget in 1965 to just 30% today. It is literally being squeezed away. What this committee should be focusing on is putting together a budget that addresses out-of-control mandatory spending, the driver of our unsustainable deficits and debt. If policymakers want to prioritize R&D funding, they must first tackle this threat. It's not easy. It's going to require political courage. Indeed, some members will go home as a result. Congress must get back to making the tough choices. It won't be an easy job, but it has to be done. This is the only way critical federal programs, both discretionary and mandatory, will continue to exist for current and future generations. I look forward to hearing from our witnesses today, and I'll take just a quick moment of personal privilege to say that on the subject of R&D, my good friend Joe Steinmetz, the chancellor at the University of Arkansas, has made research an important cornerstone of his administration at the U of A in Fayetteville, our land-grant university. I expect within the next several days, there will be a major announcement of a funding source for a major research institute on our very own campus in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and I look forward to sharing that news with you at the appropriate time. Mr. Chairman, as always, thank you for your leadership. I'll yield back the balance of my time.
Thank you, Mr. Womack, for your opening statement. In the